Okay, so AI, everyone's talking about it, right? Like it's the big thing. But we're not just following hype here.
Right.
We're diving deep, looking at what's really going on with AI being adopted, especially generative AI.
Yeah.
Everybody's going crazy over that.
Yeah. And I think what we're looking at today, this McKinsey report, it's a global survey on the state of AI in early 2024.
Okay.
That's a really good source for seeing like how companies are actually using it. What's good, what's bad, what's working.
Exactly. We want to get into the nitty-gritty. What's the headline for you with this report?
I think, honestly, just how fast AI adoption is accelerating generally, but generative AI especially.
Right.
McKinsey's been tracking this, and even they seem surprised by how fast it's all happening.
Okay, well, come on, give us the numbers. Like, what are we talking about here?
So last year, about half the companies they surveyed were using AI in some way. This year, it's up to 72%.
Oh, wow.
It's a massive jump.
That's not just a jump. That's like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon now. It feels like it's really becoming like almost mainstream, maybe?
Yeah, it's definitely heading that way. And it's not just the big tech companies anymore.
Right.
This is across all industries, the whole world.
So who is the biggest, who's leading the charge in this AI revolution then, if it's not all just Silicon Valley?
Well, one of the more surprising things is professional services, actually. So like law firms using AI for legal documents, consultants using it for market research, even accountants are getting in on the act.
See, I always think of like the robots and the factory jobs and things like that. I never think of, lawyers and consultants.
Yeah,
Fascinating. It makes you wonder, though, how those jobs are going to change over the next few years.
absolutely.
But okay, so big jump in overall adoption. But what about generative AI specifically? Are people actually using this, or is it just hype?
Oh, they're using it. 65% of companies are now regularly using generative AI. So not just dabbling, actually using it in their day-to-day.
So 65%.
65%.
Wow. So that has to be beating even what McKinsey thought would happen.
I think so, yeah. And that's globally, don't forget. So it's not just a few companies, it's everywhere.
Wow. So they're using it, but how are they using it? Like, what are they doing with it?
So the report highlights a couple of key areas. Marketing and sales are big ones. So you can imagine, AI tools that personalize customer interactions, generate targeted content. It could even write ad copy for you, all much faster than a human.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why that would be helpful.
And the other one where it's really taken off is product development.
Okay.
Using AI to help brainstorm new ideas for products, come up with designs, even write code.
Okay, you're right. I am getting a bit carried away now. This is very exciting. But the report, it can't all be good news, right? There must be some downsides to all of this as well.
You're right to be a little bit grounded about it. I mean, the potential is huge, but there are risks as well.
Okay.
One of the biggest ones that McKinsey highlight is inaccuracy.
Inaccuracy.
Yeah.
What does that even mean when we're talking about AI?
Well, generative AI, it's only as good as the data it's trained on. So if the data is wrong, if it's biased, if it's incomplete, the output's going to be wrong as well. Garbage in, garbage out.
So like a chatbot that's been trained on inaccurate information could then give, customers the wrong information or even worse.
Exactly. And it's not just customer-facing things. Imagine inaccurate financial reports being generated by AI or, legal documents being misinterpreted.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that is a scary thought, and I think something that maybe people don't often think about when they think of AI taking over the world.
Yeah, because everyone's worried about AI taking their jobs. Actually, the idea of it being inaccurate and what that means for the real world, that's something we need to be considering very carefully.
Absolutely. But if that's a problem, are there companies out there doing it right? Like using AI well and actually seeing the benefits without falling into these traps?
There are, they call them in the report, AI high performers. And what's interesting is it's not all the big tech companies. A lot of them are smaller companies using AI really well.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about how much money you throw at the problem, it's how you're actually using it. So what are they doing differently, these high performers?
Well, they tend to use generative AI across a lot more business functions, so even things like legal and finance, which you wouldn't necessarily expect. They're also much more likely to build their own AI models rather than just relying on existing tools.
So they're not just buying whatever the hot new AI tool is.
Yeah.
They're actually thinking about what they need and building it themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they have much more control over the data that's going into it.
Yep.
And therefore the outcome as well. They're building their own models, using it more widely. Is there anything else that these like high performers are doing that's different?
Well, the real key, and this is really crucial, they're much more proactive about managing the risks with AI.
Okay.
They're not naive about the downsides.
So it's about approaching it with a bit of kind of caution and strategy, not just like, let's throw this at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. They're thinking long term, putting safeguards in place, always evaluating the risks versus the rewards. It's not just dipping a toe in the water. It's like diving in with a plan.
Smart. Okay, so we've got using it more broadly, building their own models, managing the risks. Anything else that these high performers are doing that we can learn from?
Yeah, the report also highlights how much emphasis they put on data quality. So investing in cleaning up their data, making sure it's accurate, because they get it, bad data leads to bad AI.
It always comes back to that, doesn't it? Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
You're only as good as the tools that you use, and data is the tool in this case.
Yeah, and it's not even just about having enough data. It's about having the right data.
Right.
The report really emphasizes building those robust data pipelines, governance structures, so you know your data is accurate.
It's about having the systems in place to actually manage it all properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Another key takeaway is thinking beyond just buying off-the-shelf AI tools.
Okay.
Obviously, those are helpful, but the real value comes from customizing those for your needs, or even better, building your own models.
So investing in your own AI capabilities,
Yeah.
whether that's, people in-house or partnering with people, whatever it might be, it's about actually having that skill set within the company to actually make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, I think, we talked about it a little bit before, but that importance of managing the risks, especially this inaccuracy problem.
Hmm.
Companies need to be thinking about this right from the start, putting those safeguards in place.
So again, it comes back to that strategy. It's not just about like the newest, latest thing. It's actually thinking, how are we going to use this long term?
Absolutely. The companies that are really succeeding with AI, they're approaching it strategically, thoughtfully, long-term perspective. They're not just trying to throw technology at something. They're thinking carefully how AI can solve real business problems, create real value.
That makes sense. But it's easy to say be strategic. What does that actually look like? How can companies, you know, take these sort of big picture ideas and actually make them, real?
It's interesting, isn't it? We talk about how AI is going to, like, revolutionize this industry or that job is going to disappear.
Right.
But we're all part of this change, aren't we, in some way?
It really makes you think, how is AI going to change things for
Yeah.
me? Yeah, it's the big question.
Yeah, and it's not just, oh, is a robot going to take my job? It's like, actually, the whole way we work is changing, and we need to be ready for that.
Yeah, the skills that were important 5 years ago, maybe they're not the ones that are going to be important in the age of AI. You've got to be ready to learn new things. So what kind of skills should people be like thinking about, okay, if I want to be ahead of the game here, I need to learn about this. What are those things?
Well, obviously, we're already seeing a huge demand for data analysis skills,
Okay.
but it's more than that. Things like AI ethics are becoming really important, understanding how to use this technology ethically. And then there's things like, prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering.
Yeah.
It's a new one on me. What is that?
So that's all about learning how to, talk to AI. It's the art of crafting really good instructions for these AI systems. So the better you are at communicating what you want from the AI, the better results you're going to get.
So it's like AI is almost creating like a new language. It's a new skill set that we need to learn, new ways of thinking even, to be successful in this new world.
That's a great way of putting it. It's not just about using it. It's about learning how to think alongside it. How do we collaborate with these systems? We're only just figuring that out. It's a whole world of possibility.
It's exciting and a bit scary at the same time, isn't it? This feeling of we really are at a turning point. Something's changing,
Yeah.
and we don't know quite what it's going to look like yet.
Yeah, it really is. It's a massive opportunity, but we need to be cautious as well. The decisions we make now are really going to shape how this plays out.
And that leads us perfectly to this episode's deep dive challenge, something for you, the listener, to think about.
So we've been looking at the big picture of AI adoption today,
Right?
but now we want you to think about it personally.
Yeah.
Your own career,
Yeah.
your skills, your
Yeah.
passions.
What you like doing, what you don't like doing.
Yeah. How could this shift that we're talking about, this rise of AI, how could that actually affect your job in the near future?
What new opportunities might it create?
Exactly.
What are the challenges you might face? And how can you start preparing now?
Yeah. Because the future of AI, we're all creating it together. So stay informed, stay curious, and stay engaged.
Great point to end on. Thanks for diving into this with me. Really fascinating stuff.
It's been my pleasure.
Until next time.